Gagan, I had a question from the Canadian perspective. If someone is a permanent resident in Canada, has a PR, and their spouse is an on H1, how can then that spouse become a permanent resident in Canada?
That's a very interesting question, and we do get across these questions on a regular basis. So I just thought to bring it up in our radio show as well. So think about a situation where we have a Canadian PR and but their spouse is in US on an H1B. So what are the options for this H1B to come to Canada and be a permanent resident as well? Of course, a very clear path would be for the permanent resident individual in Canada to sponsor and do a spousal application. And they will go through this application process, and it takes about 9 to 12 months. The processing times can vary. And once the application is approved, this individual can join the permanent resident in Canada as a landed PR himself or themselves. Now come about a situation where the permanent resident herself or they are themselves outside Canada. They are probably in US on a dependent visa. Maybe they are on H4EAD, maybe they are on L2, or they are on other dependent visas. Now, what are the options for such individual to be back in Canada to bring their spouse as well? The key element here is the residency requirements. Have they met the residency requirements in Canada? That's always going to be the guiding question. Have they been for 730 days? Have they been in Canada in last 5 years? That will guide their sponsorship applications for their spouse as well. Because at that point, the government wants to know a bona fide intent for this permanent resident to sponsor their spouse and for both of them to live in Canada. So when you are applying for a permanent resident, is your PR card yourself? Do you have a valid PR, or is it again going to expire? Because that will kick into another situation that you have to apply for a permanent resident travel document. If your PR card is also expired, you cannot sponsor your PR while you're outside of Canada, and your sponsorship or your resident status is also not very clear. So we do have to go through various nuances. Just as much we think that this could be a very simple question, this can turn into a very complex situation, and it comes down to your life choices, how you wish to proceed, and we can help you assisting on the legal aspect of the site.
I see. Wow, that's wonderful. Yes, it's very layered, and you want to have the subject matter expert in this guide you through it all, and that's the NPZ Law Group. And thank you so much for that, Gagan. Really appreciate your clarifying that. With a reputation for legal excellence and a responsive client service, the business and family immigration law firm of the NPZ Law Group represents clients from throughout the US and around the world. Seek their advice today by logging on to visaserve.com or call them at 201-670-00